Happy Friday, everyone. Let's do a Best Ball Mania draft. Does that sound good? All right, let's do it. Got to get better at those intros. Got to get better at the intros. Hope everyone's doing all right. I got the 3 spot in this one. Had the 3 spot on yesterday's stream too, so we can see how much different this one looks. I ended up going with a Kansas City Cleveland stack. This is actually my first Best Ball Mania of the day. I usually get one done in the morning. I'm going to put in my Discord that I'm live right now, because a lot of you have not shown up yet. Maybe because it's a Friday. Not sure. All right, here we go. It's kicking off. If no one's going to be chatting, I'll chat with myself. Got Christian McCaffrey at the 101, then Tyreek Hill. So I get CeeDee Lamb. So that's good that I get to change things up a little bit versus what happened yesterday. Lights Out NY Co says, is JJ drafting in this one? I hope so. This is I'm not a deep fake. T Martin, good luck. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. There's like a fifth of the amount of people in here than normal. Amon-Ra St. Brown going ahead of Jamar Chase. A little bit of a surprise. Don't see that too frequently. And then A.J. Brown going ahead of the running backs. I do think that you can make the argument that any of the running backs could go as early as 4. I mean, some people could say even as early as 2. Are you surprised Worthy is smashing in camp? I don't know if he's smashing in camp or not. All I can do is tell you that I like Xavier Worthy as a prospect. My model really likes Xavier Worthy as a prospect. So am I surprised would I be surprised if he does well this year? No. I mean, I think he's a good player. People worried about Chase holding in unnecessarily. I think so too. It's a fast moving draft. Pretty chalky so far though. We'll see if an Eagle will be there for me at 22 overall to stack with CeeDee Lamb. What's up, Kevin? There goes Saquon. So Devontae Smith would be that player, who I like a lot. I like Devontae Smith, and I'll probably be okay reaching for him. Hey, JJ, in a keeper league, do you adjust your ADP to account for the number of players that are now off the table? For example, would I draft a round 5 player in round 4? Yeah, you would. Yeah. It depends on, I mean, I wouldn't adjust ADP. I would just take an ADP list and take a rankings list and just remove the players that are being kept. And then you kind of can see, who's the best player available and such. Are you doing any Rottweiler drafts? I just saw they dropped that. Is that is it 4 or no, the Rottweiler? Which one is that? I get all the dog breeds confused. Because you have, is that the, yeah, that's the new one, the $25 entry one. I will be doing them. Yeah, I'm going to max enter that probably this weekend. Brees and Bijan should go ahead of the receivers. I'm fine with that. I've had that. I do think that CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek makes sense. Here, I'm on the clock here, so I'm going to make a pick. I might risk it with Devontae and him slipping to the 3rd. I like Chris Olave. I think he's being unnecessarily dropped right now based on environment, but with Clint Kubiak there, that offense is just they've been so bad. They didn't have any motion in that offense. I think it's going to change completely in the way that they operate. I'm bullish on Chris Olave. I think he's like sort of like an unsexy name, but I do think that with this coordinator switch, it could do big things for him. Any fun weekend plans? Um, Hanging out with the family. This is my last like weekend. My wife actually said, "Oh, look at that, Devontae Smith went cool." I'm gonna get Malik Neighbors. I know Mike Evans is listed higher in ADP. I'm getting Neighbors though, to get some exposure. I do think there's a non-zero chance he finds himself in the second round soon enough. Um, but my wife noticed that tomorrow is the last day in August that we don't have something. That's the life of a dad, of having two young kids. So we'll probably go to the pool, hang out there. I agree with that. If you get a CD value, you should try to get a unique compare with another value instead of reaching for Devontae Smith. That CD Devontae start is very unlikely to be unique. Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I think like forcing it, and just seeing if Devontae then falls to the third. I don't know how unique it'll end up being, because we've seen sort of a transformation during the front, the early parts of Best Ball Mania. Devontae Smith was going a lot earlier, or sorry, a lot later. And he's definitely moved up where he should be going. Like I like Devontae Smith. But yeah, I mean it's all valid. Life of a dad, for real. For real. Wouldn't want it any other way though. Zay or Amari Cooper. Um, I can go either way. I think that they're just part of a giant cluster. That's why I hate being in the back half of these drafts, especially like towards like the 112, because it's just flat. Like you're gonna get, like I might even be able to get Amari Cooper here. Sometimes he falls when I think he's just as good as a Stephon Diggs. Yeah, Kevin, I agree. I think that Neighbors ADP is just naturally going to rise, but I don't know if that's going to happen in your home leagues. I think he's just a smash and obvious pick in more casual leagues, like in your home leagues and stuff. In sleeper redraft ADP, it's like you likely have to choose between Waddle, Neighbors, and DJ Moore in the third. Who would you pick? I like Waddle the most, but I would go in that order, especially in a managed league. I think that in managed leagues, the teams and the wide receiving groups in Houston, Chicago, even Kansas City to some degree, they're going to be a lot more unpredictable week to week. They're much better. I mean, I hate to say it, but they're better in best ball picks. Because when they do have that roller coaster and they have that down week, you have something to sort of make up for it. On your that in best ball, whereas you're not going to have that in a managed season long league. Cup or Amari Cooper, I have Cup higher. All right, Pacheco goes. I mean, we could try to force the Andrews Lamar thing here. It's not like I'm like overly high on T. There's not much correlation or obvious correlation. I'm looking at schedule right now. I think we try to go Andrews first and then hope that one of these teams doesn't take Lamar because I took Andrews. I've done this a lot. And if they take Lamar, it's fine. We can go with a wide receiver in the fifth. Not the end of the world. In my home league that's competitive, it's a 2-keeper league, and we just got draft order. And at pick 10, my BPA is London. I have HN and Garrett Wilson as, yeah. I mean, it's really hard, honestly, as a fantasy. I've said this all the time, but it's really hard as a fantasy analyst to like give good advice with keeper leagues. And I think it's disingenuous. Wow, George Kittle just went at the 4-5 turn. I think it's a little bit disingenuous when analysts don't ask more questions. Like whenever people say like, hey, should I keep this guy here? All right, we got Lamar. The T. Higgins slide, though, is pretty real. I just think that we need to go Lamar to pair him with Andrews there. I'm not reaching on Rashid when I'm gonna pair Lamar with Andrews. Anyway, I want to go back to this. The keeper league stuff. There's just a lot of context that's needed to know, who's available, what kind of draft strategy you should employ. Like it matters. Like if you don't have, like, let's say that Breece Hall, Christian McCaffrey, and Bijan Robinson are all drafted. or let's just say, or are all kept rather. And let's say that like Jahmyr Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor, like let's pretend that only like Devon Achane is the running back that's available, who's a first top 3 round running back. Then you should elevate him a little bit because of the scarcity issue, right? Like it does change the dynamic of your draft strategy. I'm going to take a drink out of Mo Alley Cox real quick. For those of you who are part of the Patreon, you guys know this is Mo Alley Cox. I've not had enough water today. I go through that bad boy once a day. HM might be better than Gibbs, no cap. I mean, I think that he's a discounted Gibbs. He's an arbitrage Gibbs. I still get Gibbs, and when he falls, I get him, especially. But yeah, I mean, I think Achane at ADP is a better pick than Gibbs at ADP, just because he goes later. I hate Keeper. It simply rewards people for being lucky. I don't know if that's true. I think if you're saying that it rewards people for being lucky, then you're saying that playing fantasy football is almost entirely luck driven, which I disagree with. Pretty hardcore. Calvin Ridley, that's like, it's so funny. DeAndre Hopkins gets hurt and everyone's like, oh, Calvin Ridley's gonna rise to the beginning of the 4th round. I haven't seen it happen yet. I would have gone Ridley in the 5th if Lamar wouldn't have fallen there for the stack. Who's your cutoff tight end 1 when you're not taking a 3rd tight end? I don't think it's a question of a cutoff of tight end 1. I think it's a question of just how much capital and what my tight end room looks like in general, right? Because like I could get, Evan Ingram as tight end 1, and then my tight end 2 could be Jonnu Smith, and I might feel the need to get a 3rd tight end. Or my tight end 1 could be David Njoku, and my tight end 2 is Dallas Goedert, and I'm fine at tight end. I don't need a 3rd tight end. So it's not about what the 1 tight end is. It's about how you're looking at that room entirely, and the amount of capital you're spending on that room, and what the rest of your team looks like. I mean, there's times where, you need those like 18th, 17th, 18th round picks to really bring together the lineup. Whereas sometimes you're like through round 16 and you're like, man, my team's good to go. So I can afford to get a 3rd tight end here. I think HN scares everyone because for obvious reasons, but we should be playing for upside, man, at the end of the day. All right, so Baltimore's schedule, they get the Giants in week 15, so I have some correlation there. And then the Steelers and Texans. We're not going to get any Texans at this point. This Jaden Reed slide is interesting. I'm assuming he's about to get drafted. Can't go with DeAndre Hopkins right now. Oh, wow. Christian Watson won it. We're going Jaden Reed for some value. Yeah. Fine by that. I think next round we could look at getting our first running back, maybe Kamara, to pair with our boy Chris Olave. If AJ Brown and Jonathan Taylor's there, who you take? I'm taking AJ Brown. All right, Brian Thomas. All right, we got Kamara, who I think is a little bit undervalued potentially. It's like, on one hand, we all understand the downside case of an aged running back who hasn't been seeing as good of efficiency marks. But on the other hand, the dude just keeps catching passes, and Kendre Miller's in the doghouse, and Jamal Williams is the other piece of competition there. And New Orleans offense should be better this year. I'm actually okay with Kamara. I know that he's sort of in that dead zone area in terms of being an RB2, mid-range RB2, but they tend to be okay as long as they hit a 10% target share, which I think Kamara will this year. Where do you take DeAndre now with the news? My rankings are posted on the Patreon. I don't think it's far off from here. I think I had them. My rankings are based on ADP as well, so it's a little bit off right now, which is why you see what it's showing. I think it's around here though. Like I think he's still around like a JSN. This has been a little bit of a weird draft. There's some guys that are still on the board that, eh. I mean, I feel like there's just stuff happening to players, and so the middle of the 7th looks like what the late 7th used to look like. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is just the way that it is right now. But yeah, I mean, I think that around here is where he should probably be going. I've been higher on Hopkins. I have him at like wide receiver 39 or something right now. I don't even know if he's going to miss 2 weeks. He might not miss any time. There's not a lot of data on it either. You know, the people that I follow, the doctors on Twitter and stuff, there's not a lot of data on an aged player like this with this kind of injury. And fortunately, the data with this injury is that they can recover. But it's a 32-year-old wide receiver, so who knows what happens. I'm going to dynasty draft in round 3, and I have already drafted Jamar Chase and Kyler. Should I take Drake London or Dak/Tua? I'm assuming this is a Superflex league. I like Dak more in Superflex. I haven't been clicking a lot of DeAndre Swift. I'm not going to lie. Or Ramondre. I think I have like 1% Ramondre. And I have like 1% Zamir White. All right, we're up soon. I mean, I'll take a chance on Hopkins in the next round if he's there. Or in this round here. But maybe I'll push it a little bit. It's kind of a dead spot in the draft in general. I know that I have Jaden Reed. I don't really want to spend a decent pick on another quarterback. Running back is drying up a little bit. Hopkins just went. This is kind of a rough. This is where the front part of the draft kind of sucks, is this 8-9 turn when you already have a quarterback. I mean, even now, like Burrow goes, because sometimes Burrow will fall. I'll probably just play it safe and go Sutton. And just get, like, you're never going to regret a wide receiver pick. This team has 4 running backs. They're probably not going to take one. This team has 2. They might take one, but Sutton, maybe even Zach Moss. I like Chase Brown. I mean, I could even reach for Chase Brown. Chase Brown at 100 overall. I like Chase Brown more than Zach Moss straight up. All right, someone said, okay, thanks for nothing. Don't be a jerk, dude. Come on. Don't be like that. I'm drafting a team right now. I can't just look at chat and answer questions constantly. All right. I guess we'll go Chase Brown. Some will see it as a reach. His ADP is rising a lot. I think it's going to continue to rise. And everything else kind of sucks in this area of the draft right now. And I'm going to pair him with Courtland Sutton in week 17. All right, getting to your question. Instead of being a smart aleck out there, 12-team half PPR, 2 keeper league start, 3 wide receivers, AJ Brown or Gibbs with my second overall pick. AJ Brown. There's your answer. Someone else said AJ Brown also. You literally answered. All right, buddy. You literally answered the question directly after mine. So good one. Hey, buddy, apologies for doing a live stream and drafting a team and talking about that team, you know, why people are watching this in the first place, and not being able to know exactly where I am in the chat to answer your specific question. Sorry. Apologies, bud. I mean, my God. There are like 8,000 avenues to contact me. Yeah, it's a Q&A. That's part of this. But I'm clearly live. I'm drafting a team live. But congratulations for being the first person to get angry on one of my live streams. That's cool. I haven't encountered this yet because usually people are cool. Brown getting lots of first team reps in camp. Yeah, I mean, there's upside, his big playability. Coming into a draft chat, asking very specific individually oriented questions and getting mad when a streamer doesn't get to them is crazy. It's a little crazy. No, I'm not going to block the dude. I'm sure the guy's fine IRL. I'm sure that if I saw him out in public, we would shake hands. Maybe not shake hands. It's kind of weird. We'd fist bump, maybe bro hug, have a little, have some laughs, get a drink, be a good time. I don't really block people. Like, people are allowed to get angry. I'm just allowed to tell you to clap back and tell you why I disagree. All right, here we go. Where am I at? What's wrong with a nice firm handshake? Now people are going to get mad at me about the handshake comment. All right. This could be a Derek Carr lineup with Lamar Jackson late. Probably just get a running back here. I'm not really. I mean, this is kind of a tough room. I feel like the team is okay. But I need to build this running back library a bit. Like, I don't really love Gus Edwards or Trey Benson. I've been getting a decent amount of quorum in these spots where I'm just like, I don't know what I want to do. So I'll probably do that here. I mean, look at this list of 80. Look at the best available players right now, man. It's rough. We'll get quorum, shoot for upside a little bit. I like quorum more than Benson straight up at this point. Maybe not in like, sorry, I should rephrase. I think in best ball and these environments, quorum is a better pick than Benson. Is Trey Benson just a Connor injury insurance, or does he have standalone value? I think he's. Let me make my pick, and I'll get to that in a sec because I need to figure out. I mean, maybe we can just go with Benson too, and we get some correlation there with that game. Let's just get them both. I don't have a lot of Benson for the record, because I think they're gonna ride James Conner a good bit. But I do think there's plenty of upside if Benson, as the season goes on, late in the season, et cetera. And this is probably going to be a 6 running back team. I think the most likely outcome is James Conner is sort of a bell cow, but loses work as the season goes on. And then obviously he hasn't been able to stay healthy, which is why Trey Benson's a little bit attractive. Whereas I think Blake Corum could carve out a role a little bit more naturally. Percentage-wise, how far are you away from max registering BBM? Yesterday's stream was number 100. So we're 2/3 of the way there, over 2/3 of the way there. What's your take on the Chicago backfield? Herbert played yesterday and looked good, but hard to tell if I'm mostly just drafting Herbert and Roshan late, especially if I get like a Seattle stack and I want to run it back, or even a Chicago stack. I've tried to avoid it. I think next week DeAndre Swift in the draft guide is going to be a player to avoid. The more that I've looked at it, the more that I've heard them talk about it, they seem to want a committee. I know they spent a lot of money, but here's my thing. I actually was talking about this yesterday with Scott Barrett. I was DMing with him, and I actually think the money thing, like the money side of things, when it comes to running backs, is overstated. Because new contracts are going to be more lucrative, right? Like that's just how it works. Every year, new contracts at quarterback, whatever, because the salary cap increases, teams have more money to spend, right? So when a running back gets a new contract in the most recent year, of course, it's going to be more lucrative than a running back who got a contract 2 years ago. And then on top of that, these contracts are truncated and you can get a lot of money in 1 year. Well, I mean, compared, for the running back position, you get a lot of money in 1 year and it looks like this like really big deal, but it's not nearly as big of a deal as people think. And so I think the money side of things, whether it's Ramondre or DeAndre Swift, I think it can very easily be overstated because we're not talking about a dramatic investment in these players because running backs aren't getting paid a lot to begin with. So I'm not that concerned about how much money they gave DeAndre Swift. I think they just saw a need in getting a pass catching running back like that. And they saw that he was dynamic and they wanted to surround Caleb Williams with as much as possible. And they had a lot of cap room. Like the Bears had so much cap space that they're like, yeah, we'll spend it on DeAndre Swift. I'm open to Nick Chubb if he falls. There's not like massive correlation going on here. I guess I could have gone Goddard earlier, but we have Andrews. Like I want to stick with a 2 quarterback and 2 tight end bill without like an elite asset or two really good assets at either position. When was your first BBM 5 draft? In May at some point? Man, today was actually a good time, and then a work meeting held me up. Does that you mean for the stream? That sucks. Work sucks. Screw work. All right. We could go very Marshawn Lloyd would have been perfect for this build. All right, no, we can go Jaleel McLaughlin to get more Denver. And then probably pivot to wide receiver. I'm cool with that. My work isn't too bad, but I'd much rather be drafting. My boss sucks personally. I'm my boss. First deal announced from free agency shows a major priority, though. I think I don't love Swift, but it's still worth noting. I don't know, but I don't know. You know, like I hang on, I got to make this pick. We probably need wide receiver here. We could go Musgrave. Maybe we'll go Musgrave and not really worry about tight end. We pair him with Jaden Reed. What's his buy? Let's do this. I like Musgrave. Yeah, I don't want to create like the way that my brain thinks with fantasy football is I don't want to just like create narratives that may or may not be true. Right? Like he was the first deal in free agency. Is there a correlation there? Like, have we seen? I don't know. Right? I haven't studied that. So while it might be a thing, I don't want to say it is a thing. Right? And that's kind of how I look at fantasy is I want to start with the concrete facts. And the concrete facts are that DeAndre Swift, yes, potentially a pass catcher, but it's on a team with 3 very good wide receivers and a good tight end. Where's the target share really going to come from? Rookie quarterbacks generally don't provide high ceilings for their running backs in terms of them being league winners. And so when a running back has a rookie quarterback, I'm not as afraid of that running back burning me, right? Like, could he exceed expectation and be a decent pick? Sure. Is DeAndre Swift going to be a league-winning back? That would be kind of shocking, in my opinion. Someone says, I'm embarrassed for this guy. I'm assuming you're talking about me. Thanks. Appreciate it. What's with the trolls today? This is the first time that we've had trolls in these streams, but it's great. It feeds me. It feeds me. So we can go. I'm fine. Again, like I said, I'm fine with going like Carr late. There's not a Vegas player that I'm like, yeah, I got to stack him week 17. We have some mini stacks going on here. Mini team stacks too. 2592 likely, looking likely. I think it might be a 2682, but we'll see. I don't know if it could be. Yeah, we might go 9. I think it's a solid enough team. Like people will be uncomfortable with this running back room, but in a best ball environment, I don't think in a tournament environment, I don't think it's the worst in the world. I'm embarrassed for this guy. Should be very embarrassed. It is kind of embarrassing, though, that I'm a fantasy football analyst and I do that for a living and support my family by talking about a game. Trust me, I know it's embarrassing. Is there early season production available left at running back to help you get through those weeks? Yeah, I think that's something to keep in mind. JJ, way too nice to these people. Do your thing. Your info is great. People like I appreciate that really. But like whenever I like jab back at trolls and stuff on Twitter, like quote tweet them and stuff, people think that I'm like upset at that. I'm not upset. I'm just having fun, man. Like if someone out of nowhere comes up to me and says something like says that I have a big head, like physically, which is not wrong, or just like makes fun of me for some reason, like I'm gonna jab back because it's it's kind of entertaining. And people like that just people are like, don't give them your attention. It's not really giving me my attention. It's like a 2-second tweet, you know? My guess is the trolls are all Bears fans hung up on the Velus Jones pick roasting. Yeah. All right, we got Rashad Bateman to pair with Lamar. That's the only thing about this about Baltimore stacks is you usually don't get Houston guys very easily. Unless like Mixon falls in the 6th. It's just a little bit difficult. This running back area was a lot better when Kendre Miller and Kamani Vidal were a little bit better picks. You go DeMarcus Robinson next, though. We have the Corum and Trey Benson thing going on. And then I think I'm going to reach for Derek Carr maybe in the next round. The trolls are always going to be more upset if you clap back at all. I think trolls mostly get mad when you don't give them anything because they want a reaction. But I don't really care about honestly, my normal reaction to trolls is to find something on their profile. Like there's a thread, you guys can check, it was like 2 weeks ago. Someone came at me for because I made a joke on Twitter and he was like getting annoyed by it because everyone was making a similar joke. It was about like players getting sniped in your best ball drafts. And I was like, dude, it's not that serious. And then he like calls me names, whatever. I was like, come on, man, this isn't that big of a deal. And then finally I saw that he was a dad. So I just responded and I was like, hey, I see that you're a dad. I'm a dad too. Like, let's be dads and let's not do this. And then immediately he was like, yeah, being a dad rules. Like, you just got to find something in their profile that's cool. Like if they have a boat in their little picture, not the avatar, but their background picture or something, just say, hey, nice boat. That's pretty cool. And then they're like, oh, wow, this guy's not that bad because he's complimenting me. So I'm going to back off. If this has been talked about on the stream, please ignore. Was the main reason you were previously high in Hollywood because of the possible Rice suspension? I still like him when KC should score more. I still like him, yeah, but I removed him from my players to target because of that, yeah. Because I don't know how much his ADP is going to shift because Rashee Rice's is shifting, but Hollywood Brown's isn't really. Whereas I think there needs to be more of a correlation there. That's really what that comes down to. Well, this is getting kind of rough at quarterback. This could get ugly. Maybe I should have taken Derek Carr last round. Let's see. 2-2-2. All these teams have 2. This team has 3. All right. They all have 2 quarterbacks. Kyler, Jordan Love, Mahomes, Rodgers, Hurts, Caleb. They're good. Yeah, I mean, hopefully I'm good. This is the one. The team right before me could snipe me. And then I'm going to have to get real creative. This is gross. Dameon Pierce makes some sense. Yes, as a later round running back here too, not early season production, but a contingent bring back. Yes, I was actually thinking that too, but he also might get cut. There's also upside of like, I don't think it's going to happen necessarily. I think they or traded. I don't know if it's going to happen necessarily. Thank God we got Derek Carr. Never thought I'd say that, but thank God we got Derek Carr. This is a pretty quarterback heavy draft. Yeah, I think the wide receiver room came together from like low floor or high floor options. So I can get 8. Pierce is not a bad look because if he makes the team, that's great for the week 17 stuff. And then Obviously, there's the upside of him getting cut. What if he goes to the Chargers? What if he goes to some of these teams that need just a bruiser like that? Because it could be a scheme thing. Yeah, thank God we got Carr. Truly a best ball bro. That's what it feels like. All right, we're going to go Dameon Pierce. I like that call out. Because now we get a little bring back for week 17 as well. So we got our 6 running backs. This team, not bad. Am I wrong in thinking this is not a bad team? I think it kind of came together. We just need to get a random wide receiver in round 18. I think Hayden Winks always says something like, it's much harder for ADP to fall than to rise. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's just mathematically true. Well, for certain spots in your draft. I'm not going to get Tez Walker. He could be a 0. I don't need to correlate. I already have 2 guys in Baltimore, so I don't need to force it, you know? Like, I'm fine with like a Dortch. Dortch would be sweet, actually. But yeah, I'm fine with getting a lot of different, like, Yoshivas, did he go already? Javon Baker's a good pick. He just went. But even, I mean, if Franklin's there, that'd be cool. Because I have a little Broncos thing going. Bo Melton. We could do that. Get more Packers. I think Melton's like our contingent. We go Dortch and then Melton. And Davis Maddock drafts. Dortch goes in the 15-16. I have a lot of Dortch too. When you go elite tight end, do you feel a little less bad about the wide receiver team room? Not necessarily. I don't understand the question. When you go elite tight end, do you feel a little less bad about the wide receiver room? I'd feel better if I had a wide receiver there. There goes Dortch. We're going to go Melton and get him with Jaden Reed and Luke Musgrave. Just kind of a random one-off Green Bay stack, you know. Jordan Whittington. No, I mean, like I already made a bet on DeMarcus Robinson, so that's more of a floor play, right? With Whittington. I thought he was an interesting enough prospect. Like if you look at my prospect profile for him, his score wasn't that bad for where he got drafted, but I think I made the bet with DeMarcus Robinson, so I don't really want to make another bet on the Rams wide receiver 3. Wait, weren't you the one who said that I'm embarrassing myself? Are you're embarrassed for this guy? You didn't even elaborate on that, bro. All right, we're gonna go Bo Melton. We're gonna wrap this thing up. All right, recap time. Lamar, Derek Carr. So we have the anchor with Lamar. Kamara, Chase Brown, Corum, Benson, McLaughlin, Dameon Pierce, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Malik Neighbors, Jaden Reed, Cortland Sutton, Rashad Bateman, DeMarcus Robinson, Bo Melton, Mark Andrews, Luke Musgrave. I don't mind the squad, man. I don't mind the squad. Feel free to rate it, you guys, in chat out of 10, as we usually do. But yeah, that's it for today's stream. Just wanted to get one in there. Do a quick draft. Send you guys on to a fantastic weekend. I hope you have a great weekend. I got to record another show here in a minute. But yeah, thanks to all of you for JJ. How did your daughter enjoy the water park? She loved it. 7 for you. I think it's a 7 or 8. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, thanks to all of you for tuning in as usual. Definitely check out the Late Round podcast feed. I dropped a mailbag episode today. I'm going to have a players to target episode dropping on Tuesday. But yeah, appreciate you all for tuning in as always. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you next week.